This is Charlie Mike, the podcast. Veterans helping veterans, talking about things happening in the veteran community, things we've experienced and overcome, such as addictions, PTSD, depression, legal trouble. And we also promote veteran-owned businesses. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it. This is Charlie Mike, the podcast.
Yo, what's going on, everyone? How you doing? This is Raul with Charlie Mike, the podcast. I'm bringing to you today a special guest and a mentor of mine, Mr. Mercer. It's Mr. Mercer likes to be called Sherman, but it's Mr. Mercer to me. Mr. Mercer, how's your day going today?
Doing absolutely wonderful, and it's better because you're here.
Oh, I appreciate that. I see, man. You got another haircut. Looking good.
I did. It's trying to be a flat top, and I don't know if it's because my head's shaped funny or what, but sometimes it'll get high on both sides and looks like I got devil ears or something.
What golly, I'm excited to have you here. I know you have a lot of knowledge in the different veteran organizations and different things that you do in the community. And I also know that you, my man, are a Vietnam veteran. And from me and everybody else, I want to thank you for your service, because without people like you, sir, I would have never had the chance to do what I did. And for that, welcome home, and thank you for your service, brother.
Thank you so much, bro. That really means a lot, and I know it means a lot to every military man. If everyone, when they see one in uniform or someone that they just know as a veteran, if everyone would just go up and say thank you for your service, it always makes a veteran feel better.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know, I had a kid come up to me the other day because I was wearing one of my Charlie Mike shirts, and um, I, I don't get in my feelings much, but it kind of got me. Yeah, it definitely kind of got me. I had to look away.
Right, right.
But Mr. Mercer, tell me a little bit about yourself. I want to hear who Mr. Mercer is.
Well, Mr. Mercer is not who he was,
Right.
and there are a lot of people responsible for that. I've had a lot of mentors along the road. I am a Vietnam veteran, as we mentioned before, and I came home from Vietnam in 1969. Uh, what happened when I came home was that I was not met very well, and when I tried to fly home, that was difficult. When I got home, my mother, my father, and my girlfriend, who was with them, did not even recognize me. I weighed 142 pounds. I could bench press my way. Now, I can't do that anymore. I'll guarantee you that. But I was in pretty good shape, and there were a lot of disappointing things that happened because I had higher expectations upon people than they could live up to. I expected that young lady to not grow up, and I think the saying is Jody'd been at the house, so she was driving somebody else's Corvette around town.
Oh,
And I understand that I was gone for 13 months, and she's a human just like I'm a human. And she grew up. She went to her senior prom and all that stuff. And that just made me madder than I already was. And to escape the anger, I crawled into the bottle. I stayed in the bottle daily from 1969 till 1981. October 29th, 1981, I was in a motel room in Meridian, Mississippi. And I got on my knees and I thanked the God I would have told you I didn't believe in for keeping me alive this long, and asked him to help me get my life straightened out. And from that point till this, it's kind of been a whirlwind, but it's been a very pleasant journey. Along the way, I told you I had a lot of mentors. I had several mentors in my family, two of them pilots. One of them was a radar tech up in Alaska. Those are the three big ones. My mother was a cadet nurse in World War II. My aunt was a Marine in World War II. And so I had some military around me, and they tried to help me, didn't really know what to do. My father was part of a fraternal organization, so all his friends tried to pick me up. And my father died in an automobile accident. Uh, and my attitude was, you guys trying to help me, you ain't my daddy and you can't help me.
Yeah.
So that attitude got me in a lot of trouble because I didn't listen.
You weren't ready for the help.
No, I was not ready. I
Yeah.
absolutely was not.
A lot of people don't understand that, man. You can't really change yourself until you're ready to change yourself.
Yes, sir.
I had a question. How old were you when you went into Vietnam?
When I went to Vietnam,
Yeah, when you went to Vietnam, did you enlist or were you drafted?
no, I enlisted. They did have the draft, but I enlisted at 18 years old. They did have available at that time a 2-year enlistment, which is what I took because I thought I was going to come home and get married, and I didn't want to stay gone that long. But that didn't happen. But at any rate, being in the Marine Corps was probably, looking back, and this is sad to say because I was in the Vietnam War, but probably the most pleasant time of my life. I had camaraderie. I had buddies. I had friends that I knew would watch my back. I knew, that those friendships and those ties don't go away. They stay forever.
They do. They do. A lot of people, I guess a lot of people don't understand that. They ask me what I miss the most about being in the service, and it's the camaraderie. It's waking up Saturday morning, and I had like five soldiers sitting in my living room just playing video games, eating my food. I'm like, what are y'all doing here?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
It was just comforting. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Come by when you don't want them to, and then after they've shown up, you don't want them to leave.
right, exactly.
Yes,
I definitely miss it. The camaraderie is what I miss the most. And I try to get involved around here in different organizations to find that again, and it's just hard. It's hard because it's
sure.
it's
Well, it's not. It's not the same. It's not the same camaraderie that you find on the battlefield.
right.
On the battlefield, not only do you want to be close, but you have to be close. Out here in the real world, it's just different. There are VFWs around, and I've enjoyed visiting the post. I've been to the post. I'm a past commander of a post, but it just ended up not being my cup of tea. In October 1981, I found a group of people who drank like me. Some of them even acted like me. And those folks became kind of a second family. There were several veterans in that group, and we kind of hung together. In fact, we had some meetings together and that kind of thing. Went fishing. I know in South Texas, the battle cry is "Let's go to Mexico," but in Middle Missouri, where we were, the battle cry was "Let's go to Canada and go fishing."
Oh yeah.
And we did that one time. That was probably one of the more pleasant experiences that I've had. I got to take my mother. One of the veterans got to take his father, and one of the veterans got to take his son. And we went up to Lake Cornell, just north and a little bit east of Winnipeg. And we were there for 7 days, and it was absolutely the most beautiful time of my civilian life. Mom and I got a lot closer. And I want to say, if anybody's at odds with your parents, father, mother, don't let the sun go down before you call them. And do all you can to make that thing right. And after you've done all you can, that's all you can do.
Amen.
But please make that attempt. But at any rate, after that, after living up there at Lake of the Ozarks, I came back home. My little brother had cancer and 2 daughters, and I came home to try and help. And still was in my same career field. I've been a salesman all my life, and I've sold tires most of that. And along the way, I've met some people that became mentors. One fella that I'm remembering right now was a guy named Billy. Had a tire shop in where was it? It's Laurel, Mississippi. And Billy I'd come into his place and I'd be smelling like the bar room, and he'd just let me be there. And then we'd sit down. I got there at lunchtime. We'd sit down and have lunch. And he always prayed before lunch. And every once in a while, most of the time, actually, he read a little bit out of the Bible while we were having lunch. And I didn't realize until not too long ago how important that was. That I met him and he was pushing me, not pushing, but kind of nudging me over to a better path than the one I was walking. And that led to a lot of different things. I ended up back in my hometown, was selling tires, joined the VFW, got involved with the Legion and all that stuff, but it just wasn't enough. They were doing some community activities, but it just wasn't enough for me. So I got away from the wholesale tire business and started working for Walmart, running one of their Tire Live Express stores. And that's what brought my wife and I to Angleton, Texas. And that's where I really began. That's when and where, about 15 years ago, I started really getting some serious help with my PTSD. PTSD is a strange illness, and it is an illness. I call it a wound. But at any rate, it starts at some time in your life with a trauma. Then you have that trauma, then something else happens. That piles on top, you get another one, another one, another one. And then some of us get involved in war, and that's trauma every day or every other day. So it just stacks up along the way, and you have to kind of work with it, through the layers, kind of like peeling an onion. And the VA has been very helpful to me. The mental health group at Veterans Hospital in Houston, Texas, have been wonderful to work with. I cannot say enough about the VA. I also have some heart trouble as a result of exposure to Agent Orange. I have diabetes from the same. And in all cases, they have been absolutely wonderful. I have heart disease. Man, no better place than this VA hospital.
That's one thing I've always said. I've never had an issue with the VA. We've been blessed with the fine people of Houston. Was DeBecky? Am I saying it right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. But like a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about the VA, and I haven't experienced any of that. And I'm not saying that the VA is perfect, but I think this one is pretty good, and we're blessed with it.
Yes, sir. I will share a little experience. I hear these guys talk about they get appointments 3 months out. In some of the areas, like especially in cardiology, that's the case. It's 3 months out. Dental, it's 3 months out. What I've found is if I will wait about 3 to 5 days after they give me the appointment, I will call that department and ask if they've had a cancellation. In some cases, right then and there, they've had a cancellation. I've been in that office within 3 days. Sometimes they say, no, but we'll certainly put you on the list and we'll call you back. So that's a way that I have learned to shorten my wait times for appointments.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I've been working with the VA, and I'm running into veterans all over the place, and I'm, watching down the hall. And if you're ever sitting on your pity pot, and you want to feel grateful, just go sit in the lobby at the VA for about an hour and a half, and you'll feel grateful. I guarantee you that.
It'll change you. It'll
Yes,
change.
sir. Yes, sir.
I sit in there and talk to the vets sometimes, and when I'm in there, and it's you walk out of that place with a different I guess purpose. It's
Yes, sir.
so many incredible people that you meet.
Yes, sir. That's where I really began and got caught up in this real strong desire to help veterans. I've always wanted to help veterans, but I mean, it was today I call it my calling.
Yeah.
That's what I think I'm here to do. I'm here to love all people and to help all people, but I think my specialty is veterans. And not long after I'd been to the VA one time, I met a young lady from Galveston, and she was in charge of what they call the Military Veteran Peer Network. And the MVPN it's an organization which provides education for people who want to be involved in peer support. And the subjects in the training are suicide identification, suicide prevention. We're trying to reduce that number 22 as fast as we can.
Yes, sir.
Then other things like depression. A new one is moral injury. That's something that has kind of come to the surface now. And so I got involved with that organization, and part of what the peer network does is they provide support for the Veterans Court. And the Veterans Court is for us veterans who, like myself, have been in trouble, but at the Veterans Court, like a lot of specialty courts, we get the treatment that we need to help us get away from some of those old and I call it the demons that scream.
Yes, sir.
We help. The court provides treatment for PTSD, alcohol, drug abuse, depression, mental health, all kinds of things that we provide treatment for.
For those of you who don't know, that's actually how I met Mr. Mercer, through the Veterans Court program. I'm a big supporter, but I'm also a client, so I'm going through the system. I'm over 650 days sober, but this young man right here is a great mentor. He's got a lot of guidance, a lot of information, and that's what drew me. Mr. Mercer, people are drawn to you, and we can feel the I guess the knowledge, the sense of purpose you have. I guess you want to help, and I can feel that from you, and it draws me to you. And I admire you, sir.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. I think you younger guys are drawn to me because I'm old and I need help walking around. That's what. Then when I get you that close, I just reel you in. But no, I was very honored. I started out as a mentor, and I ended up mentoring 2 or 3 different guys, and we still talk. That mentor thing doesn't end. It doesn't have to end when the court's over.
Right.
And then I was very, very honored to be asked to be the mentor coordinator for the county of Brazoria. And our office takes care of Galveston County and Brazoria County. In Brazoria County, our Veterans Court, the mentor program, I go out and I look for people who I think can relate themselves to whatever's going on in the life of a veteran. Someone that I know will care, somebody that I believe will. My motto and what I tell every veteran, I tell you as a group, I tell you individually, I don't care if we're walking through hell, we're going to walk through hell together.
Yes, sir.
And that's what I believe a mentor is. A mentor to me is a friend who walks in when everybody else walks out.
I like that. Yes,
so that's what I try to do. And along the way, I got to tell you, I have met some very, very wonderful young men who, like myself, were angry, upset, didn't. One of the biggest things is people not being able to adjust after they get to civilian life. And I will tell you, I believe that part of that is our fault. I don't believe the military provides enough training, enough, I don't know, decompression when guys come home from the battlefield to really walk out there. And another thing I've noticed in the military, you can't say you've got PTSD. You can't. If you get that, everybody thinks that's the sign of death in the military. And PTSD is treatable. I've watched it work. I've watched young men walk in there. I've seen young men who couldn't sit still. They had to sit on their hands because they were so anxious. Their anxiety level was through the roof. I've seen them go through the court program, get the help that they needed, get the right medications, and come out of there to become leaders in their community.
Yes, sir.
You're one of them, Raul.
Thank you. I appreciate that, sir. I'm trying. I definitely am.
Oh, I know you are. Everybody knows you are. After the Veterans Court, like I said, the mentor thing does not have to stop. And my first touch with most of the veterans that are in Veterans Court happens in the jail. Our county sheriff is so good here in Brazoria County. He is so good promoting veterans assistance and I'm not saying that he coddles veterans. That's not true.
Right,
He's
right.
a veteran himself and he understands. Uh, and I think there's a whole lot more of that coming down the road. But he graciously allows us to go in, and our first contact with veterans, when a person identifies himself as a veteran, they're put on a list. That list is emailed to myself and one other man. Then we coordinate who's going, or if we're both going, if there's a lot of them. And we ask the veterans out there, we tell them about Veterans Court. We tell them it's a 14-month program. We tell them that they're going to get the treatment for the things that they need. And then the final thing we say is you need to talk to your attorney. I can't get you in there, but your attorney can. So
Right.
talk to your attorney. Ask him if it's the right thing for you. And if it is, we will welcome you. If it's not, we're here to help you anyway. And we carry with us some requests for medical records, requests for admittance to the Veterans Health Care Program, some other things like that, so that when a guy walks out of that jail, he already has had that paperwork turned in. He's got his records coming and all that stuff on the way. He can go to the VA. I talked to two people this last Tuesday. One guy had never been to the VA. He was kind of like me when I first come home. I didn't want anything to do with it. It was the government, and I didn't want anything to do with the government. But he, when he and I talked, and I told him about my experience with the VA, he said, he said, I don't really want it for me, but he said, I'm married. And he said, my wife deserves to have me taken care of and have some peace of mind. And then another young lady who was absolutely a basket case. That's because she had a medication that they were not allowed to give her in the jail. And so she asked me to do something for her. I went around, I talked to the bondsman, asked him, she was getting out the next day, asked the bondsman to call her mom and have her bring her medication with her. And I got a text from her, and she was saying, thank you. That is my paycheck. I don't mean everybody has to say thank you, but the smile on a veteran's face, that watching that weight be lifted off their shoulder when they get some help, knowing that somebody's going to walk through hell with them, just those little things, when they receive that, when they smile, that's my paycheck.
You're a good man, Mr. Mercer. So y'all go into the jail, the county jail, is that correct?
Yes, sir. County jail here in Brazoria County.
And
We used say again.
oh no, I was gonna say, like Mr. Mercer said, don't think that just because veterans are they're no way treated differently. And
No,
veteran court program itself is not a get out of jail free card. It's actually a lot of work. You have to put some work into it. You have to do all kinds of things and attend meetings and figure out what the root of the issue is. And that's why I preach veterans court program, because I wouldn't be where I'm at right now if it wasn't for you guys. And I'm thankful I got in trouble. I'm thankful I got the chance to meet you guys. And I think everything happens for a reason.
me too. Me too. I think I believe that life is primarily directed by a power that's greater than me. And as long as I pay attention to the coincidences and the opportunities, I'm okay.
I like
But no, Veterans Court isn't in a get out of jail free card. I don't know how many people out there would like to get up and have to make a phone call before 10 o'clock to find out if they have to drive halfway across the county to take a urine test or a blood test, or I don't know how many people out there would like to wear an ankle bracelet for a period of time, or put on a patch on their shoulder for a period of time, or if they would. I don't know if they would enjoy the mandatory classes.
yeah.
You know,
There's a few of them.
take the mandatory away from that, it's a whole lot more appealing.
Mhm.
But the mandatory classes, which means you have to change your schedule for what's going on. So no, it's not an easy road. It's a 14-month program. I tell people, if you're only going to get 6 months of probation, maybe this court's not for you. Maybe it is. I don't know. If you want to get the treatment, it is. If you don't, it's not. So, but that's kind of where I am. Going into the jail, we used to actually go back into the jail, and COVID has changed that. We now visit in the visitation area where there's glass between us. We sanitize in, sanitize out. We wear a mask, all that stuff. So COVID has even changed that. We used to have meetings at the Episcopal Church here in Angleton, Texas, and those are about to start again. We're starting to get loosened up, but there's going to be some stipulations to that also. So while COVID has been a bad thing, it has also been a good thing, because during that time we have created Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
In those Zoom meetings, we talk about, there's one on Thursday night, anything that a veteran wants to talk about, bring it there. Tuesday night is primarily directed toward PTSD, but we have talked in that meeting about how to put a bicycle together, or my car won't start and it'll start and flutters. Anybody got an idea? And somebody will have an idea for that. So it's that teamwork stuff. And the one on Tuesday morning, it's called Coffee Time, and it's everybody trying to wake up with a positive attitude and move forward. So we have 3 different Zoom meetings that were created just simply because of COVID. Those numbers are available. I will not, because of some security reasons, I can't put them out here, but they're available several places that veterans would be.
If anybody would be interested, you contact me and I'll give you Mr. Mercer's information and y'all can discuss that. I attend the group meetings on Thursdays. I missed this last Thursday, so I'm sorry. But I normally try to attend on Tuesdays and Thursdays, but I'm doing the Seeking Safety on Tuesdays right now, and it's a good group.
Yeah,
they're funny, but it's serious, but it's a lot of combat veterans, so they mix a lot of humor in it. So it keeps your attention.
Yeah. Well, sometimes non-combat veterans don't understand our humor.
Yeah, it's that was okay. So when the VA, when I started the course, the doctor, I was going through the Zoom meeting, and I went to this one group, and I was like, I'll try it again one more time, but I don't think this is for me. So I tried it again, and I was like, nah, ma'am, with all due respect, I don't like it. I'm not getting nothing from it. All it's doing is making me mad. So she's like, you know what? Let me put you in this other group. So she put me in the group with the combat vets, and I was like, how come you didn't put me in this group in the first place? Like, why did you start me off over here? Yeah, but it's better now. So I like it. It's like you say, it's a different group. I don't know how to say it. It's a different attitude.
I think what separates us from other veterans and from the general population of the world is our experiences. Everybody might get in a fight on the playground, but not everybody is out there where it's real.
Yes, sir.
So,
sir.
So the other thing that I do with veterans is the trainings that we have, the basic training. I sometimes teach that. Sometimes I will teach the calm training, which is, I'm real proud of this. One of the guys, I wasn't teaching it, but one of the guys in one of our Zoom groups the other day, we were explaining the calm program, which is an acronym, and I can't remember all the words right here, but what it is, it's trying to help us realize what we can do to prevent suicide for ourselves. In other words, and one of the suggestions was put your child's picture on the gun safe right above the lock. So that when you go to that gun safe and you're angry and you think you want to shoot yourself or you think you want to shoot somebody else, you see your kid's picture there and it make you think. And we've had one veteran in the room say, if my kid's picture had been on my gun safe, I wouldn't be in the mess I'm in. So, help comes from different places, different ways. Then also, I'm in touch with a friend of mine who does fishing trips down Matagorda Bay for veterans. They make the arrangement. Everybody gets a kayak. Everybody gets a fishing gear. Everybody gets their bait. Everybody gets a battle buddy that goes out there with them and helps them. And if they never fish salt water, they teach them how. And if they have, well, that's fine. They all fish together, and then they clean the fish when it's over. That's a good program. And I like fishing, so
Yeah,
I like that.
it's relaxing. It definitely.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's man, you're doing so much for the veteran community, Mr. Mercer. We really appreciate it, and like I tell you, I'm grateful for you, and thank you for having an impact in my life.
I'm grateful for you, Raul. I'm grateful for every veteran, period, but especially I'm close to those who either have come through the Veterans Court or that I've met along the way. Uh, veterans sometimes listen to other veterans before they listen to anybody else.
True.
And that's that trust and camaraderie that comes from that common bond of, we were talking about, my supervisor and I were talking about boot camp can be traumatizing, but it also can be part of the bond that joins us all together. Because I don't care if you go through Marine Corps boot camp. I don't care. It's life-changing event.
Yeah, it definitely is. I'm still in contact with a couple of guys I went to basic training with, actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
You met my daughter Faith when she was like in diapers, and then
Yeah.
Faith had a 16th birthday on January, and then
Right.
like, is that Faith the baby? I was like, yeah, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
He's like, I remember her crawling around in diapers. I was like, yeah, crazy.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But I rely a lot on my own experience when I'm working with other veterans. I've been blessed with a lot of good experiences, but I've also been blessed with a lot of bad experiences. And from those bad experiences, I have learned, and I've began some time ago learning from the experiences of others. Not saying it'll be different because I'm different, but I see what he did. He got a good result. I'm going to follow in his footsteps. Or I see what he tried. He didn't make it. Here are his pitfalls. It doesn't sound like that's a thing that I want to do.
Right.
And that's what we do. We share our experiences. We talk to one another. You mentioned earlier that you support veteran-owned businesses. There are lots of veteran-owned businesses popping up. I'm so proud of this younger generation because a lot of them are going into business for themselves. We're seeing more veterans involved in politics. We're seeing, we're seeing more veterans rise to the top of some of the corporations that are around. I've got a couple that are pretty high up and down that are veterans.
I'm definitely a fan of veterans in politics. I feel like you get kind of a different answer. It's not like a flow answer. It's a straight bang.
Yes,
whether you like it.
Yeah. And if you find most veterans, in what I have seen, most veterans they don't really pick a party. They do what's right for the country. That's what I believe is supposed to be done.
Yes, sir. That's definitely it.
Yes.
I actually I follow a few people on I guess on Instagram or Facebook or
Right.
whatever it is.
Right.
I'm a fan of Dan Crenshaw. Dan Crenshaw, he does a lot. Troy Nails, the congressman right here. He's a good man. Also he does this one thing where he breaks down the whatever the law is brought to the table, and he breaks it down, and it's interesting to hear what they have to say. Give me
Yes.
give me 1 sec. Don't forget what we're talking about. I'm about to pause this real.
Uh,
Okay.
One of the things that I have not mentioned, Raul, is something that is extremely important. Every one of us, and I'm not talking about just veterans, but every human being needs a support system. Every human being needs a mentor along the way. And our first support system should be our family. And I will tell you, my wife and I have been married 26 years. I didn't go to the VA until the year that we got married. And she's put up with a lot of stuff. She's put up with me waking up in the middle of the night. She's put up with my night sweat. She's put up with my jumping at loud noises. She has, she's been there at every turn. And sometimes we don't think enough about the families. One of the things that, now this is not MVPN yet, I'm in the works with a program, with a Zoom meeting for families, but there are Zoom meetings for families, and it's done through, and I'll say this twice so that you can listen to it and then write it down. It's milvetpeer.net. milvetpeer.net, which Milvet Peer is it's a program where they provide mental health support for veterans and the families. And if you go to that, get an account, you can go in and you can find all the different things that are provided. All of these things are funded through the Texas Veterans Commission. So they get their grants from the Texas Veterans Commission, and there are several family groups around. There are several other things that are available through that website in and of itself. I know I don't know where I'd be without my wife. My wife's name is Heidi, and
Hey, I love your wife. She's
well, I do too. That's that's a good thing about
yeah.
it.
Hey, when
She,
I first met her, Mr. Mercer, she said, "Oh, we don't shake hands. Give me a hug." I was like, "Oh."
yeah, yeah, that's her. Yes. Now I will tell you, if you get out of line, she'll put her finger in your face too.
Okay.
And I felt the heat off of her hand because she gets just that close. Doesn't touch, but you think she's going to. But she, in fact, her whole family has been supportive. Now she has a brother who retired from the Army. She has a brother who was a Coast Guard veteran, and there's a little bit of military in that family too. We have an understanding. Her father worked in Area 51.
Oh,
He
dang.
worked on the SR-71 and the U-2. He was in the Air Force and then went to work for an aviation company and went on to have a tremendous career. So I think the military touches almost everybody in some way. And I think we at MVPN provide that education, that training, the basic training and the ones that come after that for families also. So again, give them my information and we'll get them in touch with the right
Yeah,
times and places
the
and
basic
things.
training in those classes they give out, it's a lot of information, a lot of great information, and I recommend it. I definitely do. It's some it'll yeah, it'll make you think a little bit. Yep, it's good.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Mr. Mercer, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about, sir?
No, I'm not talked out. I could go on for days and hours, but I know that we're limited on our time here. So
But I wanted to tell you personally, thank you so much for coming on. I love just hearing you speak about anything. I don't know, it might be your voice, man. It's soothing, it's comforting to me for some reason. I really appreciate you coming out, and like I said, thank you for your service, sir. Welcome home, and I'll talk to you in a little while.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much, Raul. The respect is reciprocated. We'll talk to you again soon.
I appreciate it, sir. Thank you.